Henrik Cronqvist, and I'm the Dean at the Argyros School of Business and Economics at Chapman University. And I'm very happy today to do an interview with Ana Sena, who is one of our MBA graduates, class of 2015. She's a Forbes 30 under 30, and also, according to Business Insider, a top woman in gaming and streaming.
My name is Tori Nguyen. My projected graduation date is 2026, and I'm here to represent the students under the Argyros Business School, and I am the Argyros Business Senator. Let's kick it off by saying hello to Ana. And our first question for her is, what interests and hobbies have led you to your career now? What job opportunities or what has lied there?
Hey everyone, thank you so much for having me here. I'm so happy. I'll share a few ideas here. So growing up, I was really passionate about the arts. My mom signed me up for music classes, so I played the piano for a really long time. I also went to dance classes, and then I had the occasional extracurricular activities that my parents would sign me up for, such as English classes, which clearly became very helpful. But my whole childhood, I lived in Portugal and we spoke Portuguese. So despite maybe learning languages, specifically English, didn't come from me, it came more from my parents. I found that maybe some of my interests, just remaining curious and just being really interested in all these different classes that my parents were signing me up for and keeping my schedule pretty busy, that helped me prioritize my tasks, try to optimize my time. And I know it might sound cliche to say, but I think that work ethic, in a way, like you're younger and you don't necessarily understand that you're preparing your work ethic, but that has been a lifesaver throughout my career. Like all the different schools that I've attended, all the different roles I've had in the entertainment industry. I've always applied skills that I've learned since then. Some of those hobbies, even sports, working in teams has been so helpful. I used to play basketball growing up. And so, those have been the types of activities that have helped me growing up. But I know you'll notice as the top woman in gaming, I didn't mention any gaming. I wasn't necessarily a gamer by nature. And I sort of landed in this role, but we'll talk more in detail in a moment.
That's great. So Ana, you did your MBA here at Chapman. So can you tell us a little bit about how did the MBA studies help you prepare to go into the entertainment industry, the gaming streaming industry?
Yeah, I think it was really a turning point for me. Coming from learning arts, having been in art school, after living in Portugal for 17 years, I moved to London to study film production. At that point, when I graduated, I really didn't know how I was going to get a job in entertainment. It just sounded like the scariest task to accomplish. And it was almost by default, almost being afraid of going out in the workforce, that I decided, no, I need to keep studying. I need to go somewhere that's going to give me a boost in skills and competencies. And so I feel like I turned 180 here and try to decide to study business. Studying business instead of art, I feel like was so different for me at the time. A little difficult, I won't lie. It was scary. Obviously, anything that is challenging will always have you second guessing your decisions. But I found it one of the most exciting decisions I've ever done in my life. I was close in proximity to the entertainment industry. I expanded my network like I had never done before. I had friends across all different areas. Studying in an MBA, you really get to see and meet colleagues from all different backgrounds and perspectives. So I was also studying with older and younger folks. So that gave me a really interesting range of perspectives. And there were students coming from all parts of the world. So I feel like it was such a beneficial activity. I also knew that Chapman was known for being a top school in the entertainment industry. And so learning the business of entertainment was really all I needed. I needed the entrepreneurial skills that Chapman gave me at the Letterby Center. I needed to understand, the data science behind entertainment. Those are skills that I didn't have. And I feel like had I not gone to Chapman, I would have not been able to stand out as much as I did after graduating my MBA.
That's so great. I'm happy to announce that now, even this year, we created a business of entertainment minor so people can have that crossover of Dodge and college in itself. And so I know going to college is a very good route for studying, and I'm so glad that you did that. And so after that, what opportunities had led you to your career? Did you have internships? Should we be looking out for anything in terms of interviews?
I did. So thank you so much for bringing up the new curriculum, Tori. I'm so excited because in my times at Chapman, you had to be a little nimble, a little proactive to try to get activities and attend all the events across different schools. Obviously, something that you were interested in a different school would mean that you'd have to prioritize and arrange your schedule accordingly. So I can assume that students now are going to have an easier time trying to plan around some activities in different schools. But that excites me because I feel like some of my internships came from my cross collaboration with professors and students at the film school. And so I stood out from the film kids because I was a business student. Every time I went to a film event or a film networking meeting. And then in turn, they obviously explained more about the industry. I had studied film production, but I didn't really know how to start and how to grow your career in the US, in LA, specifically in Hollywood. So I started out with a couple of internships. My first internship ever was in Orange County working for John Wayne and organizing his archive of photos. His kids, their family had purchased the archive, and so they needed help, and they needed someone that understood art and understood what they were doing to make sure that the negatives was stored appropriately. That was really interesting. And I also started out with an internship in LA working for Jimmy Miller. He still is the manager of Will Ferrell. I think at the time he worked with Sacha Baron Cohen and other comedians. And so that internship came from Jimmy being a guest speaker at school. And I stayed in touch with Jimmy after that. So that was so gratifying. I still speak to Jimmy to this day. He is still a mentor to me. So it's amazing how some of these internships that came from maybe a site visit, an event at Chapman, led to lifelong mentoring relationships. It's amazing to think of what one participation, one step that you take in attending an event and being proactive can lead to a series of opportunities throughout your career. So yeah, I'm really thankful for that.
That's pretty amazing, Anna. Now, in addition to those internships, what else would you advise our students and students at other universities that want to go into your industry? So here in Southern California, we have a lot of gaming companies. We have Activision, Blizzard right in our neighborhood. We have Riot Games. You have so many in LA. And so for students that aspire to go into the industry, what are some of the things that they need to have on their resume?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. I believe data, handling data and having an ease and managing spreadsheets is essential. Not because the job is requiring that. I don't think that's something that, entertainment and games industry is going to make a priority in their description of the roles, but it's going to give you a competitive advantage. You're going to go into that office and you're going to go into meetings, and with pairing your ideas and your creative with data is going to give you two languages. You're going to speak the languages of the creators, so in this case, the streamers that I work with, the entertainment talent, and then you're going to speak the language of the managers, the data scientists, the decision makers, and you're going to be able to really have vocabulary to handle anything that comes your way. You're also going to be able to bring in really big teams to work towards programs that you design. And so I think those are some of the programs that at big tech companies like Twitch and others are going to make you stand out and really create opportunities that are going to be meaningful for the industry. You might be able, you need a big group of people for working in some of these meaningful programs. You can't do it all alone. That's that at the end of the day. You can't avoid working in teams. So I believe that data will bring you to the room more prepared to handle some of the questions, also help you with making your argument a little bit more appealing. And I feel like that's something that you come out of Chapman, especially with the MBA, you come out prepared to handle. But keep that in mind at the same time as you're thinking of entertainment, because it really goes hand in hand. You need to speak the creative language, you need to speak the data language, and you need to be able to work in the intersection of both. Those are skills that I think have been the most helpful to me. I also feel like coming out of Chapman with a network that you have and having colleagues across all different industries are going to propel you to maybe receive opportunities in the future. You're going to be able to create a larger, like, I feel like you're going to have a lot of different connections in different industries that you can activate once you leave school. So I think that's something that's really meaningful to Chapman, and you probably won't get from other schools. At least I didn't from my undergrad. And so having an MBA from Chapman has really benefited me there. But in general, in the gaming industry, I feel like you don't necessarily need to be a gamer. At least that wasn't my experience. As long as you're bringing a set of tools that are going to be beneficial to the team, I feel like it's the diversity of team members and their backgrounds that's going to make the company wiser, be able to create the best programs. And I think that's true to me, and that's where I come in my company.
That's really great. I know you just previously mentioned that we can't do this all alone and we need others by our side. And so that's why I'm here to ask that on your Instagram at Ana Sena, you had previously shown that you have personal successes with other people and with your family members. So can you tell us what creates a great foundation or what connections we need behind us to create a successful life?
Yes, this question makes me so happy. I I believe that any international student that comes onto Chapman and decides to study in the US and decide to start their career out here, they're dealing with the difficult decision of having to leave their family behind. And we're not going to see our families as frequently as maybe anyone that is a US national. There's obviously like ways to keep in touch with your family, and that's usually not a problem, but it's definitely something to account for. It's not going to be easy starting out in the industry. You really have to start at the bottom. You have to understand what the ladder for success is, and you have to follow every step. I think in my experience, it has been difficult to skip steps in this ladder. You really have to put in your time. And so sometimes that means you're taking on these like entry-level jobs. You're not seeing your family as much. You don't have time to speak. You're working very long hours. And obviously they're going to understand, they're your family, but the reality is you have to, either you gain it by default or you have to come in with very tough skin. You have to be able to really endure. It's not easy. I think having known what I known and the difficulties that, immigrating to different countries might cost at you, especially at a young age, that might have been too overwhelming for me. I might have been like, oh no, thank you, I'll just stay home. But it's almost the not knowing and like almost the curiosity of remaining at home and thinking, what would have been my life had I decided to, pursue a career or like study at Chapman, pursue a career in Hollywood. I couldn't just live with that question in my mind. So I just had to go for it. And I think it's the not knowing what's going to come that is going to help you move through every step of the way. Ultimately, there's not an easy way, but now I feel like I have the time to go back home and see my family, maybe even more often than I would if I lived there. We spend a lot of time together. I love, like if you go to my social media, I love posting about hanging out with my parents, my siblings, my family, but also I love posting about work events and my colleagues. So I really try to keep a balance. It's difficult, and you are always going to be, if you're career driven, you're always going to have a lot to handle. But at the end of the day, I feel like that foundation really has helped me keep going.
Last question for you, Ana, is I learned that you can go into the gaming industry and be as successful as you without necessarily being, a super gamer. However, I'm still interested, what is your current and perhaps all-time favorite game?
I'm gonna go with something super cliche. My all-time favorite is The Sims. I'm so sorry. I might disappoint some of the viewers. But I grew up just playing The Sims. I also grew up playing PlayStation with my brother, like playing Tekken, Gran Turismo, Call of Duty. And recently, it's so funny. The last time I was just with my family last week, and every night, I'm not kidding, after dinner, we would go and play PGA Tour, so golf. We just sat there and play golf for hours. We'd do like long nights playing PGA Tour on PS5. So believe it or not, I guess we're still keeping up with like some of our habits from being younger and having some fun times with PlayStation.
That's great. Listen, Anna, we have learned a lot about your success so far in your career. We look forward to following it going forward. And thanks for making all of us at Chapman really proud of everything that you do. And best wishes to you in your future career endeavors as well. Thank you so much, Anna.
Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate the kind words. Thanks for having me.